Well, my name is Suzanne Aurilio, and I work at San Diego State University. I work on a grant provided by Qualcomm, and I basically do faculty development, innovative technologies in the classroom, and my interest here is also part of my dissertation project. I'll be doing a study in Second Life and informal learning, and so there's sort of two purposes there, and I think that's pretty much about me.
Okay. My name is John McKnight. I'm a first-year grad student at Arizona State University. I'm a former corporate finance lawyer, and I came to an interest in virtual worlds through my work with NASA in the sociology of space exploration and in how people interact in technologically bounded environments. I find a lot of that stuff is carrying over to virtual worlds.
You can go ahead and just look at him.
Okay.
It's really hard.
That's okay.
First question. So, what excites you most about the current technology?
What, you mean current technology? I think it's because it's just the beginning of something much bigger than we could imagine. I'm interested in Second Life because it's there, but I think it's a harbinger for things I can't even imagine, and that's exciting. I think it's exciting for education, and it's exciting for life. You know, I think it extends who we are in ways that are unimaginable right now.
I think the most exciting thing is the opportunity to watch new cultural forms evolve. A lot of our institutions are the legacies of completely outdated technologies, and as we start to explore a new environment, we're creating new ways of doing business, new ways of conceiving identity, new ways of governing ourselves, new ways of thinking about our place in the universe. And these technologies are beginning an explosion of creativity and institutional forms.
What concerns do you have about technology? Things that maybe the dark side,
My immediate concern is this default mapping of virtual environments and ideas about them, or living in them, or being in them, identity, and all these big issues, always mapping them onto the real world. As the real world is the default, it's the better way to be always. And so we can't really, we're not able to sort of look at the way there are legitimate things going on in virtual worlds in Second Life, for an example, that are culturally and sociologically relevant, they're psychologically relevant. And it concerns me because it scares people, and this fear is, I see this in higher ed, this fear, it brings up it brings up a lot of issues that I think sort of keep people away from thinking about it in a bigger way, and that's kind of why I'm here. It's like my role is to have a foot way out in the front where this conference is, and then bringing it back to the university where I'm also working with, faculty who are dealing with very concrete issues like how do I teach 500 students at once, and how do I figure out how to use a discussion board on Blackboard. So, I'm trying to bridge both worlds, and and be that person, that broker in the different communities, and try to understand it, and to also to have those conversations with people here, but also to be able to articulate it to the community that I work with that have real concrete issues. I mean, I don't want to act as if those aren't important things. They are, and so that's kind of what concerns me at the moment.
I think my fear is that social change used to happen in generational time, and there were the innovators and the laggards were never that far apart, and they were still able to keep up a dialogue.
That's right.
And now social change is happening in internet time, and those of us who are involved in it are evolving new customs, new cultures, new ways of being weekly. And the people who aren't involved in this are still changing generationally. And at a point, there's fear that we really could culturally speciate, because the rates of change are so out of sync with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you to put on your predictor hat. What do you think is going to be the most surprising impact of this technology within the next decade, or if that's too far out? Pick your horizon.
decade. Oh man, gosh. Predicting is just not my thing. I'm just more of a describer thing. I don't know. I mean, I can really envision, I spend a lot of time in Second Life socially, I can really envision it being a really legitimate place, not Second Life, virtual environments, as a really legitimate location of life. I don't know what that will look like. I don't know if it's a universal avatar. I don't need to know at this point, but I can, just as the internet is a legitimate place of life for most of us, that's what I would predict in 10 years, for sure. Maybe even 5 years. I'm not going to define legitimate. I'm going to define the space. That's about as predictive as I can be.
I think one of the things we're going to be seeing is the whole notion of what an individual is changing radically, and decentralizing that what we think of as moral agents will be people in this world, people who are strictly in virtual worlds, combinations of both, people who are enhanced cognitively, people who aren't, and that all our institutions are going to have to adapt to radically change notions of personhood and notions that might not be constant over time.
Last question. What barriers will metaverse technology never overcome?
Whoa.
Why did you
okay.
These are
You can blame Hotech for all these.
Could you repeat the question, please?
What barriers will metaverse technology never overcome?
Well, I would like to say, because I'm an optimist, I would like to say I would hope it could overcome racism and sexism, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's a lot of reasons why that is. I hope we get into that conversation here, why we have a lot of gender disparities in developing and designing and thinking. I'm really happy to see a lot of women here. I really didn't know what to expect. And then, the race. These are huge issues in our culture that I don't think technology. It's not a technological a solution. I mean, it's not a solution that's based in technology. It's political. It's social. It's cultural, and I don't think it's gonna facilitate any change.
I think they'll never overcome the emotional importance of place. That there are a lot of people who believe very firmly that there are things in the physical world that have ultimate value. There are places like the Grand Canyon, like Yellowstone, that can't be replaced, can't be replicated in any meaningful way, and that and the experience of those things is part of what it means to be human. And I don't think we'll ever be able to really break that tie to the natural world that separates us truly from physical place.